In May of this year, the Supreme Court struck down a law known as the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act, or PAPSA. PAPSA is a law created in 1992 that outlawed sports gambling in the United States, except on single-game betting through Nevada and New Jersey casinos. However, this new rule striking down PAPSA does not legalize sports betting across the country, but now gives states the option to legalize it or not. So far, 6 states have fully legalized sports gambling, 3 have passed a bill to implement it, 15 have introduced a bill to legalize it, and 26 states have taken no action to legalize sports gambling. The easiest and obvious positive impact of the legalization of sports gambling is the money that it brings in for the states that legalize it. In 2017, an estimated $150 billion was illegally bet on sports through under-the-table betting. This number is expected to increase to over $400 billion in 2018 since sports betting was recently legalized. While there is no denying that all this new money circulating in these states will benefit their economy, there are still a few colossal negative impacts that come from the recent legalization of sports betting. The first negative impact being a steep increase in gambling addiction. Some of the biggest sports events bet on include March Madness, horse racing, and European soccer. Experts see many potential parallels between the recent legalization of sports gambling and the legalization of marijuana in certain states. The legalization of marijuana has statistically proven to lead to an increase in drug addiction and the use of hard drugs in states that have legalized it. Douglas Berman, a professor at Ohio State School of Law, feels a similar reaction will happen with gambling legalization and gambling addiction. Berman states, "I see potential parallels between the commercial marijuana industry and the future sports betting industry, an industry I foresee as being dominated by already wealthy corporate interests and potentially indifferent to consumers, small businesses, and the public good. A sharp increase in gambling addiction, as predicted by Dr. Berman, will have detrimental effects if the states choose to take the new money from gambling instead of looking out for the well-being of their citizens." According to AddictionTips.net, sports gambling is just as addictive as substances, and can lead to mental illness as well as a large increase in violent crimes. Around 5% of every person who gambles becomes addicted, so it should be a priority for these states to protect their citizens from this addiction. A second and another substantial yet potentially negative impact of the legalization of sports gambling is the fact that it could force the NCAA to pay its student athletes. In the world of sports gambling, around 1% of the money bet is given to the institution or association that is bet on. For example, if there is a $100 million pool on an NFL game, the NFL will receive $1 million. Since the players in the league are already being paid millions of dollars, the NFL rightfully keeps money they receive from these transactions. Furthermore, the NCAA also receives 1% of all legal bets that are placed on any sport in their institution. Since NCAA athletes are not paid, the NCAA is being pressured even more now to pay them, since the NCAA keeps all funds they receive from people gambling on college athletes' performances. Some experts and athletes have varied opinions on the issue. Former Duke basketball standout and current NCAA basketball analyst Jay Bilas states, "The only way to return college athletics to their heyday is to pay the athletes." Another different take on the debate comes from former Ohio State running back and current Dallas Cowboys superstar Ezekiel Elliott. Elliott believes the NCAA has its rule and it is our job to abide by them. While there may be varying opinions on this topic, moments like this may force the NCAA to pay its athletes because of the recent legalization of sports gambling.
With Archie Diacono, 3 seconds at midcourt. Jenkins gives it to Jenkins for the championship.
An estimated $4.8 billion was wagered on this shot by Chris Jenkins in the 2016 NCAA National Championship, a number that would have certainly been multiplied substantially if sports betting was legal at the time. It would be nearly impossible to keep this much money out of the hands of these young athletes that competed in the game. The NCAA is an organization built on integrity, and the recent legalization of sports betting could compromise that and ruin college sports as we know it. Whether you support college athletes being paid or not, whether you think an increase in gambling would be good or not, There is absolutely no denying that the recent legalization of sports betting will have several profound negative effects on society.